Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and today I am very, very excited to bring you guys a very special guest who has experience, who is a medical device sales rep pro. And I'll say that because I love it.
Woo!
But today we have the opportunity to have Leah Racz on our program. Leah is an orthopedic medical device sales rep who has been in med device for the last 5 years. She is a medical sales college graduate, and she also, being an ortho rep, is able to hire associates. And so we're going to dig into what she looks for with the associates that she's hiring. So, Leah, welcome to the
Thanks.
show.
Thanks for
So
having me.
yeah, so excited to have you. And the guys, everything I love about Leah is like she's as real as they come. That's why I wanted to have her on the podcast because, just like you guys know, if you listen to me, I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not here to make everybody's feelings feel great. It's to get you guys hired. And so I appreciate when I talk with Leah. Again, she is very nice, but she will keep it as real as we can.
No filter here.
I love it. So Leah, can you just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do, and then how you kind of got started in medical device sales?
Yeah, of course. So right now I am an ortho, recon, and trauma rep. I do a lot of trauma, joints. I have oncology lines, but I work for a distributorship right now that pretty much has all ortho except sports med. So my life is, if I even have one right now, is sneaking in between cases and trying to like have some friend like time with my friends, or I'm in the OR or out selling, hitting the pavement.
Yep.
I don't like, I'm like, when it comes down to like at least that's my lifestyle. There's like, everyone says that this is not a career, it's a lifestyle, and they couldn't be more like real. And I didn't really realize that when I was getting into it. Everyone said that, but now that I'm living it for the past 5 years, it pretty much takes over my life. So there's no downtime or any time to put your phone down and not think about work. Um, but now that I've been doing it for 5 years, I was able to hire a new associate recently. Hopefully free me up a little bit to go get more business, and then hopefully hire another associate. But that's pretty much where I am right now, is just trying to build my business and get as much business going so that I can not only give myself a little bit more of a life, but also help others and new associates that are coming in to also build their business and do the same thing that I'm doing.
I love that. I love that. And what made you like, because you went to medical sales college, right? And so
Mhm.
what made you like interested in medical device sales? What were you doing before medical device sales? And then why medical sales college?
Yeah, so I worked for a physical therapy clinic for 5, 6 years. I wanted to be like go to grad school for physical therapy, and I always thought that's what I wanted to do. And everyone in the clinic was like, Leah, it's not your personality to stay in the same place every single day. You're gonna get bored. This is not for you, and you're just not respected in the medical field when it comes to pay, and you want big things. So a guy was coming in selling the TENS units to the physical therapist, and they're like, go talk to him, like go figure it out. And I talked to him a little bit, and then ran into someone at a bar actually that went to medical sales college and told me what he did. And I thought it was amazing. And I didn't know any other way. Was putting in applications everywhere. And my final resort was to go to the medical sales college just to get my name out there. And that's
Love it.
pretty much what the medical sales college did. So I paid for them to get my resume out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no, and well, first off, I want to say I think it's cool that your work, pushed you, and like you had people that were pushing you to like do
yeah,
something else, because a lot of times I talk to a lot of physical therapists, occupational therapists, those kind of people, and it's like, most people want to stay in that bubble, and
yeah,
be there. So I think it's cool that they pushed it out. But no, 100%. I think it's great that you were able to go to medical sales college, and like we've talked about offline, medical sales college is great with it's like it is a networking thing, right?
yeah,
I've talked to a lot of people in medical device sales college, where they're just hoping, you're kind of hoping your professor or the people know the right people, because that's been a
exactly.
lot of the people I've talked to who have broken in was like
Yeah.
they're like the course was okay, but it was my professor knew somebody.
But it's that to an extent. So I'm not saying anything bad or anything good about medical sales college. This job is not for anybody. Like I've traveled the world. I know people I'm from the East Coast. I'm living on the West Coast. I know a lot of people. And I honestly can't think of I can maybe think of one person I'd be like, oh, they'd be really good for this job. I honestly can't think of many people. So the one thing about the medical sales college, yes, it networked for me. It got my name out there. I was able to learn basic knowledge on what I was getting into. Even when I went to medical sales college, I didn't really even understand the job. I went just thinking like, this is what I want to do. And I honestly, I didn't even understand it then until after I went through. So medical sales college gave me the knowledge to know what I was getting into to a certain extent, but that's not like, you're not going to go far even with medical sales college if you're not the right person.
Yep.
And it really, this job takes a special person and a special personality and a special mindset. It's not a get rich quick scheme. And a lot of people that reach out to me, they just have like these high expectations. Like, I want to make a certain amount of money, and that's what it's going to come down to. Like, this is how it's going to start, and that's what's going to happen. And you're not going to get that unless you're willing to grind it out. Like, nothing comes free. And if you get an opportunity in this industry, you better know that you're going to grind it out. And if, I don't know, when it comes down to how I got into it, I really think it just comes down to my personality and how hard I was willing to prove to my employer and my distributor now that I have a proven track record of busting out the guns when it comes to working hard and doing all that. So there's I don't think there's really like a exact recipe on getting a job if you act a certain way. I think it really comes down to your personality and how you're able to hold yourself. And that's, I don't know.
I couldn't agree more with you, because I actually just had a talk with a person yesterday. He's interviewing for several jobs. It's going really well for him. But his comment was like, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I have to eat shit for, a couple years. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful. And I'm like, and that's why you're getting these interviews. And that's why you're getting these opportunities possibly.
But it's saying it, but also really like owning up to it, because everyone says it. Everyone says I could work hard. And I really I grew up on a very plastic spoon that was rewashing the dishwasher a million times. Like, I grew up very humble. Let's say that. And I worked for everything that I have. My first car, I worked full time in college as a bio major. Like, I literally thought that I was like the most mature person. This job has made me a completely different person. Like, in 1 year, I was like a whole new, like, brand new Leah. And I thought I was mature then. Now I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm 80 years old now. But this job, like I said, you could say all you want that you're mature and that you're hardworking, but until you actually put in the time to be successful in this industry, I don't know, you have to prove it. And
I love that. You're 100% right.
Hard to prove it. So
no, it is. I 100% agree, because, I say this all the time. Talk is cheap. No matter what we do in life, talk is always cheap. But I actually, I've had a talk with one person. He actually got in trauma, right? And he called me 3 months in, and he wanted to quit, and he was going to quit. And he's like, what do you think? And he was expecting me to be like, oh, no, it sounds like you got a tough life, right? And I told him, you need to tell the people who hired you, you lied to them. And he was like, what? And yes. I was like, you lied to their face. Because I said this, I was like, I know they sat there and told you you're going to work a 12-hour day, and then you're going to work another 12-hour day and another 16-hour day. And you sat there with a big smile on your face and you said, can't wait. And now you've done it for 3-4 months. And now you're like, it's too much and you don't want to do it.
A lot of people don't want to trust the process. And that's what I keep telling my newest associate now. I'm like, you have to just grind the pavement. And like, you don't realize that, like, it sounds good. It sounds like hard work. And most people are like, oh, grinding the pavement is 8 hours of work. And then I stayed an extra hour or two. No, like, I literally was working almost 90-hour weeks when I first started. 90. Yep. I was working every day, like 16, sometimes 20-hour days. And I would get out of the OR at 2 a.m. and have to be back at 6. I would sleep in my car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'd show up in this same person as the day before, and I couldn't, and the sad thing is I couldn't even like complain to any of my colleagues because they were doing it with me. Yep. My boss was right there next to me, and it humbled me seeing my boss, at least my boss, was always working just as hard, if not harder than I was.
Yep.
So it gave me a little bit of like, oh, I have no room to complain, and if I want to be where he is, I need to keep going. And a lot of people don't realize that. And that's what separates people getting into this industry and
And who don't.
and who doesn't.
and
Just
and
makes
and I
it.
and I love that. And the one thing I did just want to touch on, because again, I came from an exercise science background. You came
Yeah.
from like a physical therapy background. Again, with the medical sales college, I always just touch on this to everybody, right? Like if you have the background in the anatomy and the sciences, and then you're willing to be hungry and go network and do that, me personally, I feel like there's ways around it to break in. I would just love to hear your
Easily.
such.
So one of my colleagues, actually, I have a colleague that has an associate's degree with a scrub tech. I have another colleague that he has his GED. My boss has a high school diploma. No, that's not true. My boss went and got his associates as a scrub tech too. But moral of the story is like, okay, so you can go W-2, you can go 1099, and we'll touch on that a little bit
Yep.
later. But it really doesn't matter what your education is. Some of these larger companies that you're going to look for, they will require a 4-year degree, but there are ways around that. And once you break in with any company and you get the experience, you're in. Like you just need to get in.
Yep.
I'm all about loyalty and staying with a company, and I don't believe in the whole you stay with a company for a year and jump and move. Like
Yep.
I'm loyal to my boss. He got me into here, and I have his back. I know he has my back, and he's stuck with me, you know?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the knowledge and ways around it, I personally don't think medical sales college is for everyone. If you are hardworking and you're ready to network and get on LinkedIn and start hitting up every single hiring manager there is, and they will give you, if you just have to start landing interviews. And it's not even about I don't even think it's about who you know either. Yes, it helps. I personally just don't believe it. I really just think, like, at least when I was hiring, and if I'm jumping too far ahead, let me know.
Oh yeah,
But
you're
at
good.
least when I was hiring, I wasn't looking for, that's not true. I did look for a bachelor's degree. I almost hired someone that didn't have a bachelor's degree because they showed me other ways of how hard they were working. I look at a bachelor's degree as, at least for me, when I was going through school that 4 years, the reason why, I don't know, maybe other people look for a bachelor's degree is, for me, like, I was so poor and I worked full time and getting a bachelor's degree. So going to college and managing my own life struggles, it was the best piece of paper I ever gotten because I knew how hard I worked for it. And to see other people like have a degree too. Some people got a degree easily because they didn't have to worry about anything besides partying and going to class the next day. But some kind of story and what things that you've overcome is something that you really want to highlight with getting into this job, because like I said, I'm like all over the place. I'm so sorry. I'm
No,
just like,
you're good, and I love it because you're talking about the real truth, and like this is the thing, right? It like what you're pointing on is it's grit. It's how do you tell your story, and like you said, the reason I just want to touch on it because this is the problem. I've talked to people from medical sales college, and what I want to state is medical sales college never says this. It's just what the people who pay the money think in their own head, and they talk to their classmates, is they think they're going to pay money and then come out with this certificate that literally means nothing. And then they're like, the people call me and they're like, yeah, my classmates ask, how many people do you think are going to hire us? How many jobs are going to come and offer us now that we went to this thing? And what you're saying is it's never that. No matter where you're from, you have to work hard. You have to grind. And same thing, what you're saying with the whole college thing. Same thing. I worked 2 jobs plus was a student assistant coach to put myself through college. So because I just didn't have any money. And so that's what we had to do. But there's people, like you said, there's people I know partying all the time. Mommy and dad pay for everything. And now they don't want to even go out into the real world. So then they want to go back to medical sales college.
Those are the people that are expecting 6 figures coming out of the sales college.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. My mentor in all of this that has kind of kept me sane with what I'm doing, she's an instructor at the sales college.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her stories and her talking about grit at the sales college, like, I don't know if I would have made it for how hard this job was. I literally spent many days, and still do, crying in my car. Like, now I cry about different problems, but I'm still crying in my car. And I know all my colleagues still do that some days after work or after a hard case. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have persevered. I would have been like, oh, this is my my boss or my distributorship doing this. They're just not taking care. And in reality, it's literally just a job.
Yep.
And as long as you have that one person that is willing to, I don't know, talk you down from a cliff kind of in a way,
Yeah.
like, that is a good part of having, I don't know, I'm happy I went to medical sales college because I have that network, but the majority of the people in my class didn't get hired. Is it the medical sales college fault they didn't get hired? No.
Yep.
They told them what they had to do.
Yep.
They told them what the job was about. But it just takes, it's those people that, you know, they think because they paid all this money, they're just going to get a job. And it just doesn't work that way.
Yep.
So whether you have the medical sales college background, yes, it does help. I learned things from them, like from my instructors, and the basic knowledge of what I was getting myself into. I honestly didn't really know what I was getting myself into before it, but it helped to that point. Would I don't know, like, go through it again now what I know and
Well,
see what it is?
can I ask this?
Yeah.
With knowing how LinkedIn is, and if you just reached out to reps and being able to get on phone calls, do you feel like you could learn talking to actual reps similar of what your professors were telling you?
Easily, yes. So yes, you don't need it that, like, yeah, you can easily do that. But if you do that, be respectful of their time, because I've had so many people reach out to me, and I'll give them an hour of my time telling them about the job and like what it takes, and then they don't even say thank you. Yep. They completely ghost me, or they just start blowing up my phone every 2 seconds. And I'm like, I don't have time for that either.
Trust me, I say it on here all the time. I'm like, I can tell within 30 seconds if you're serious or not. If you're not, if you ask what company I work for, you didn't even check out my LinkedIn for 30 seconds or anything, I jump off the call. And then like I've told people, I actually had to get it because everybody is thinking about themselves. People hit me up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights when that's like my time to be with my friends or my family or just have me time. And then they're expecting, if I don't respond right away, they're sending me 2 or 3 texts. And I'm like, I will never text you ever again, because you're just being selfish and only thinking about yourself.
Exactly.
So no, I appreciate that you going in on detail, because that's something, again, I always tell people, medical sales college is going to be a decision on your own, right? Like there's never a right or wrong answer, and the only right answer is the one you decide, and that's the thing for everybody.
Yeah, like I said, it just comes down to the person.
Yep.
Like, how hard do you want it, and how much do you want it? And when you do get that job, I don't know, like, people say like, oh, you should ask from, I don't know, in my hiring process, I had someone say like, oh, that's not enough money to live in Los Angeles. And I'm like, I started at that much, and I lived, and I didn't live comfortably.
Yeah.
But I said to them, like, okay, so why do you think like I should give you more? And their explanation was, well, just the cost. Like, they didn't really have anything to come off of.
I just heard a girl said this to me. They wanted to offer me not a lot of money, and I have a college degree. And I said to the girl on the phone, your college degree means nothing.
Nothing.
Because you haven't proved anything. It means that you can cheat on an online exam and not even have to show up to class.
We've had reps, and what I have come to realize is, yes, nobody can take your education away from you, but education is not, I don't know, like, you have to have common sense too. You can be street smart, but this job takes a lot of common sense, and I didn't think I had it before I got the job, but realize I'm still here. But you really need a lot of street smarts too. And your education, your bachelor's degree will only go a certain distance, but that doesn't mean that like you're hireable because of your bachelor's degree.
No, 100%.
Like I said, like my distributor, who is the top of the game and like the OG of Los Angeles when it comes, like, everyone knows his name, everyone knows him. He has an associate's now, but like, education's not everything. And honestly, some of our worst reps have had bachelor's degrees. So that's why I was looking at someone. So what I said to the girl, I said, all right, well, what do you have to offer me? Give me an explanation, like, give me a reasoning, some backup. So if you guys ever do go and say, look, I'm asking for more money, come prepared. Come with reasons why. Okay, my rent is going to cost this, and it's going to cost this, and it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? You don't have any opportunity for growth afterwards. I said to her, I'm like, well, do you have a bachelor's degree? She's like, no. I was like, okay, well, do you have any experience in the industry? No. I was like, then why do I need to pay my hard-earned money? Because I'm an independent contractor. I'm paying her salary with my business. I said, why do you think you deserve my money that I've worked super hard for? And she didn't have anything to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, there's no answer. You know.
There's no answer. So I'm like, not, but I'm not going to sit here and like rip you off, but I'm also investing in you. And, I have my own personal situations that, you know, there are ways of making more money and blah, 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 and just trusting the process, but I feel like when you're getting into this industry, don't come entitled and thinking that like you just earn the world. You're 24 years old and your first job out of college, and like, but I have a college degree and people expect the world, and it's not like
The,
that. It's
the thing I just say to everybody, even to me now, like the reason I've had success is I don't believe I deserve anything. Because even like if I've had success today, I can get, like I say this all the time, I can get fired tomorrow. And then I'm back to square one. And guess what? I don't deserve anything. It's life. It is what it is. And guess what? I'm going to have to pick it back up and go from there. And that exactly what you said. I say this to people all the time. There's too many people who are entitled. They want to do the least amount of work for the most amount of money, and they
yeah,
think they should expect it. And let me just tell you, when you expect stuff, that's how you get disappointed. And B, you're going to find out if you go to the OR, if you're someone who's brand new and you think you're entitled to stuff, you will be humbled very quickly, not by only the
very
staff,
quickly.
but by doctors and other people.
Everyone will humble
And
you.
even the one thing I want to touch on is like someone asking for more money, like you're saying, especially with what you do. We talk about it, right? Like I just had somebody, the person I just mentioned, right? We're in it for 3 months and then they turned over. Well, if you're paying somebody hard earned money, you don't know if they're going to stay around or not. It's a risk for you.
Exactly.
And then if they don't, you're just out all that money and the time and the training. And then you have to start the process all over again to go find somebody else.
Just off of that, whoever's getting into this industry, just know that this industry is small. So like we know, like especially ortho, like I know the reps on the East Coast and the West Coast. We all talk. I see them at the sales meetings. If we need something, it's a very small knit community. It's huge. It's the whole country, but it's really not as big as you think. And we all talk, and it's not good to be. I don't know. Maybe Jacob, you'll have a different opinion on it. At least in my world, it's people do jump around, but I don't know. Like nobody likes a jumper either.
No, and they do, and this is what I talk again. It's just like it's how you carry yourself, and it's never burning a bridge, right?
Yeah,
Like because, like
that's
you said, it is the smallest world, and you again, people always say this, right? If they hire you, you could be hiring them in the future, no matter what it is. We don't know
easily
how the world plays out, but again, it's like people want to be with people they like and work hard and are going to be good teammates and whatever it is. And even if it's not that they're getting you a job, they just want to like I message so many people that I reached out to because they just want to stay in contact. And then we can also talk about
yeah.
different scenarios and all that
Mhm.
good stuff. So no,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.